I'm so excited this morning to have our guest presenter, Nikki Semeniuk, and I'm going to, she's a certified somatic educator, and I will let her introduce herself and continue on with this morning's class. Take it away, Nikki.
Thank you, Susan. Good morning, everybody, or I don't even know if it's morning where everybody is, but it's morning here. Today, we're going to do some daily cat stretch routine with some enhancements. Like I said, hopefully you have those 2-bedroom pillows nice and close to you so that you don't have to come out of your comfort zone too much to reach them. And we're going to start this morning with our soma scan. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and lie on your yoga mat, on your back. Hopefully you've got your camera set up so that I can see you. And while you're getting cozy, I want you just to start to bring your awareness to your breath. So as you settle in with your arms long beside you, your legs long as you can lay comfortably with your legs long. If you feel like you are really uncomfortable with your legs long, go ahead and put those 2-bedroom pillows on top of each other and put them under your knees. But if you can manage to do the soma scan without the pillows first, that would be great. But of course, staying in comfort is most important. And so as you're all getting cozy, you're bringing your awareness to your breath. I'd just like you to think about slowing down your breathing just a little bit, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose or your mouth if that's more comfortable for you. And as you begin to focus on this breath, start to pay attention to what you're feeling with your breath. Do you notice your chest and your belly rise as you're inhaling? Can you feel your back floating back down to the floor as you exhale? Are you noticing any pain or tension as you're doing this nice, comfortable breathing? So you're going to hear me cueing breath with some of the movement today, but I would like you to focus on breathing comfortably. So don't wait for me to give you a cue. If you need to take another breath, please do that. So now I'd like you to bring your awareness to your head and your neck. And just notice how your head is feeling on the mat today. Does it feel heavy or light? Are you feeling any pain or tension in your head, in your neck, in your face, in your jaw? Just taking note of anything that you're noticing or feeling here. Still breathing comfortably. Bring your awareness now to your shoulders and your chest. And as you take this next breath, notice what you're feeling here. Can you feel your chest rise with your breath? How do your shoulders feel on the floor, your shoulder blades? Are you noticing a difference from side to side? Does one shoulder blade feel heavier or lighter to the floor? And notice how you have your arms laying today too. Are they laying close to your body? Are they far away from your body? Are your palms facing up or down? And again, just taking note of what you're feeling, what you're sensing. Moving down now to the mid part of your torso as you take this next breath. Can you feel your belly rise with this breath? And are you noticing any pain or tension? And moving down now to your low back and your pelvis. And this is where a lot of our focus will be today. So I'd really like you to pay attention to what you're feeling here. Does your low back feel like it's lifted off of the floor? Does it feel like it's down snug to the floor? Are you noticing any pain or tension in your low back? And what about in your pelvis from side to side? Does one side of your pelvis feel heavier or lighter than the other? And what about your sacral area? A little bit lower than your low back, below your tailbone. What are you feeling here? Are you noticing any pain or tension? And notice how your legs are feeling this morning. Can you tell if one leg feels more turned outward or inward than the other? Are you noticing any pain or tension? And again, just taking note of any differences that you're feeling, any pain or tension that you're feeling, and moving all the way down through your legs to your feet. We'll be starting this morning with some very small flatten and tilt exercises. So what I'd like you to do now, hopefully you have those 2-bedroom pillows nice and close. I'd like you to scoot them underneath of your knees, stacking them on top of each other so that your legs can lay long, but they'll be slightly elevated. If you don't have 2-bedroom pillows handy, you can try this with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, but hopefully you've got some pillows there and you can give this a try with your legs long. Remember though, that staying in comfort is always most important. So as we begin this exercise, if you're feeling any discomfort in your low back and you need to bend your knees, please do so. So we'll be starting with our flatten and we'll be doing this on an exhale. So when you're ready, we're going to do an inhale to get to our exhale. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor by tightening your abdominal muscles. Your pubic bone and your ribs come towards each other. And now bring your awareness to your stomach and slowly with control now, as you inhale, release the contraction in your belly as slow and smooth as you can, slowly returning to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. And then we're going to repeat that one again. So when you're ready, an inhale to get to your exhale. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, tightening the abdominals, pubic bone and your ribs come towards each other. Your back flattens to the floor. Bring your awareness now to your stomach as you slow and smooth begin to release. Slowly returning to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, rest. Next, we're going to add some rolling arms into this exercise. So before you do it, just allow me to describe it. You'll be flattening your back again, but at the same time, your arms will roll inwards towards your body, and you'll gently squeeze your shoulders towards each other in front of you. So again, we'll be doing this one on an exhale. So when you're ready, inhale to get to your exhale. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor and now gently rolling the arms inwards towards your body, gently squeezing your shoulders towards each other in front of you. So now you're going to bring your attention to your chest and your belly as you inhale and slowly release the contraction in your stomach, slowly releasing the contraction in your chest as you slowly, with control, melt back to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. And let's repeat that one more time. When you're ready, inhale again to get to your exhale. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, pubic bone and ribs come towards each other, belly muscles tighten, and rolling your arms inwards towards your body, gently squeezing your shoulders towards each other in front of you. Bring your awareness now to your belly and your chest as you slowly, with control, release the contraction in your stomach and in your chest. Slowly melting back to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. Good. Once you've had a moment of rest, we're going to move now into the tilt exercise. So this is the opposite of our flatten. So this one we'll be doing on an inhale, and I'd like you all to keep this movement really, really small to start as we warm up and loosen the muscles in our low back. Remember to stay in comfort and start with nice small movements. So when you're ready, we'll inhale now and tilt by pressing your tailbone gently down to the floor. Your belly button rises to the ceiling. Bring your awareness now to your low back and your pelvis as you slowly release and exhale, slowly allowing your back to melt back down to the floor. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. And let's repeat that one again. When you're ready, inhale and tilt, tailbone presses gently downwards as your belly button rises. And this time now, roll your arms open so that your palms are facing up to the ceiling. Bring your awareness now to your low back as you exhale and slowly release the contraction in your back and in your pelvis, and slowly allow your arms to roll back to neutral. Slowly with control. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We're going to put these two movements together now, and we're going to flow between them. So we're going to start again with the tilt. So when you're ready, inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, belly button rises, roll your arms open so your palms are facing up to the ceiling, and now gently press your shoulder blades down to the floor. Bring your awareness now to the back of your body as you exhale and slowly release the contraction in the back of your body. Slowly with control, melting back to neutral. And this time now you're going to move right through neutral. You might need to do another inhale here. And as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, tightening the abdominals. Roll the arms inwards towards your body and gently squeeze your shoulders towards each other. Bring your awareness to the front of your body now as you slowly release. Slow and smooth, releasing in your stomach, slowly releasing in the chest as you slowly melt back to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We'll repeat this movement again. This time, we're going to do 3 repetitions of this flow, and then we'll rest after. And of course, unless you need to rest in between. So again, we'll start with the inhale and tilt when you're ready. Inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, belly button rises, arms roll open, so your palms are facing up. Gently press your shoulders to the floor. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now as you exhale and slowly release. Smooth, controlled release, melting back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, roll the arms inwards, gently squeeze your shoulders towards each other in front of you. Bring your awareness now to the front of your body and slowly release. Slowly with control, releasing in your stomach and in your chest as you slowly return to neutral. And then again, another inhale and tilt. So inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, belly button rises, arms roll open, shoulders pressing gently to the floor. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now as you exhale and slowly release. Slow and smooth, controlled release. Slowly returning to neutral. And again, moving through neutral, doing another inhale if you need to. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, arms roll inwards towards the body, gently squeezing your shoulders towards each other. Awareness now to the front of your body as you slowly release the contraction in your chest and your belly, slowly melting back to neutral. And again, we'll move right through neutral when you're ready, doing another inhale and tilt, belly button rises, arms roll open, shoulders press gently to the floor. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now. Slowly release, allowing your back and your pelvis and your shoulders to slowly melt back to neutral. And again, we'll move right through neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor. Pubic bone and ribs come towards each other, and gently squeeze your shoulders towards each other in front of your body. And slowly release. As slow and smooth as you can, returning to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. Good. Once you've had a moment of rest, we're going to add now our legs into this exercise. So I'd like you just to keep your arms quiet for the first 1 or 2 until you get the movement with the legs, and then you can go ahead and add the arms back in. So we're going to start with the flatten again. So when you're ready, we'll do another inhale to get to our exhale. And now as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, pubic bone and ribs come towards each other. I'd like you now to gently squeeze your knees towards each other. Remember to stay in comfort. And as you gently squeeze your knees towards each other, I'd like you also to think about engaging and tightening in your pelvic floor. With awareness in the front of your body, now slowly begin to release the contraction in your belly and in your legs, and slowly releasing in your pelvic floor. Work for slow, smooth release. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. And we'll repeat that one again. When you're ready, inhale to get to your exhale. And as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, gently squeeze your knees towards each other, and tighten in the pelvic floor. Bring your awareness now to the front of your body as you slowly release, slowly melting in the abdominals, slowly releasing in your pelvic floor, slowly releasing in your legs, slowly melting back to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We'll move now to the opposite side of the body, to our back. So going into the tilt again. This one we'll be doing on an inhale. So when you're ready, inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, belly button rises. And now gently squeeze your knees out and down into your pillow. Your pelvic floor should now be relaxed. Bring your awareness now to the back of your body as you slowly release, slowly allowing your back to melt back down to the floor, slowly releasing in the legs. Slow and smooth, returning to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We're going to repeat this movement, but we're going to add the flatten into it now and go into a flow again. When you're ready, inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, your belly button rises to the ceiling, and now gently press your knees outwards and down into the pillow. Your pelvic floor should be relaxed. Bring the awareness to the back of your body now as you exhale and slowly release the contraction in your back and in your pelvis and in your legs. And you're going to move right through neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, pubic bone and ribs come towards each other, your pelvic floor tightens, and your knees will gently squeeze towards each other. Bring your awareness to the front of your body now as you release, slowly, smoothly melting back to neutral. Slow, smooth control. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. And we're going to repeat this flow, only this time I'm going to add the arms in as well. So when you're ready, we'll again start with the tilt. Inhale and tilt, tailbone presses down, your belly button rises, your arms roll open so your palms are facing up, your shoulders press gently to the floor, and your knees are pressing down and out into your pillow. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now as you slowly release, challenging yourself to go even slower and smoother. As you slowly melt back to neutral, and doing another inhale here if you need to. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, pubic bone and ribs come towards each other. Your arms roll inwards, gently squeezing your shoulders towards each other in front of you. Gently squeeze your knees together and tighten the pelvic floor. Bring your awareness now to the front of your body as you slowly, with control, release, slowly melting in your abdominals, slowly melting in the chest, slowly melting in the legs and the pelvic floor as you slowly return to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, we'll start again, doing another inhale and tilt as your belly button rises, your tailbone presses down, arms roll open, shoulders gently pressed down to the floor, your knees pressing open to your pillow. Your pelvic floor should be relaxed. Slowly, with control, now release in your back and in your shoulders, in your pelvis and your legs as you slowly return to neutral. And again, moving through neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, rolling the arms inwards, your shoulders squeeze towards each other, your knees gently squeeze towards each other, and your pelvic floor is engaged. Bring your awareness to the front of your body now as you slowly melt in the chest, slowly melting in the stomach, slowly with control, releasing in the pelvic floor and the legs as you slowly melt back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, we'll start again. Inhale and tilt, tailbone gently presses down, belly button rises, arms roll open, shoulders pressing down to the floor, knees pressing outwards to your pillow, your pelvic floor is relaxed. Bring your awareness now to the back of your body as you slowly, with control, release. Slowly melting back to neutral. And moving right through neutral, doing another inhale if you need to. And as you exhale, flattening your back down to the floor, gently squeeze your shoulders towards each other, gently squeeze your knees together, tighten the pelvic floor. Bring your awareness to the front of your body now as you slowly release in the chest, slowly releasing in the abdominals, in the pelvic floor, in your legs, and any muscles that you've recruited to do this movement, slowly releasing. When you've returned to neutral, go ahead and repeat this flow of tilt and flatten one more time at your own pace, rolling the arms, incorporating the legs and the pelvic floor, and really paying attention to what you're feeling in this movement. Notice if it's getting easier to do the movement. Notice if it's getting easier to do the breath with the movement. And when you've finished the one that you're on, take a moment of rest. Take a moment to sense what you're feeling, if anything has changed in your body. While you're taking this moment of rest, I'm going to explain to you what we'll be doing next. We're going to go into a hamstring release next. So for this next exercise, you'll be rolling onto your belly, and I'd like you to push your pillows downwards and rest your feet on your pillows. So when you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto your belly. If anyone is uncomfortable laying on your belly, you could do this movement standing as well. And with one or both of the pillows under your feet, we'll move into the hamstring release. So first I'd like to just for you to get a sense of what's happening with your hamstrings. So we're just going to do a little test here. I'd like you to lift your right heel upwards towards your right butt cheek. The top of your right leg will stay on the floor. Try not to go past 90 degrees. And then slow and smooth, begin to lower that foot as slow and smooth as you can back down. Really paying attention to see if you're noticing any bumpy or glitchy or uncontrolled movement in that release. And when your foot is resting down on the floor on your pillow, we'll do the same thing with the other foot. So when you're ready, lifting your left foot now, left heel towards your left butt cheek, and then slow and smooth, really paying attention again. If you're noticing any bumpiness or glitchiness in this slow release, can you do it slow and smooth? And when your foot is resting on the floor again, and we'll come back to the right side. Good, and I see some of you have decided to try this one standing. So same thing with standing, you're gonna bend the leg at the knee. So lifting that right heel again towards your right butt cheek. And remember, it doesn't need to lift high, and don't go past 90 degrees. And slow and smooth, begin to lower the foot back down as slow and smooth as you can. And as you're lowering that foot, if you do feel a big bump or glitch in the movement, pause for a moment, recontract, and then slowly begin to release again. When your foot is back down to the floor, rest for a moment. Again, with the right foot, this time I'd like you to aim your right heel towards the outside of your right hip. So it's still bending at the knee, you're still lifting the foot upwards, but you're pointing that heel out to the right side a little bit. And then slowly with control, lower the foot back down. As slow and smooth as you can. When your foot is resting, take a moment of rest. And then again with the right foot, this time, I'd like you to point that right heel towards the opposite side. So towards the outside of your left hip. So again, lifting the right heel, and pointing it towards the outside of your left hip. Then slow and smooth, begin to lower the foot back down. As slow and smooth as you can. When you've returned to neutral, rest. Moving now to the opposite leg. So the left heel coming again straight up towards your left butt cheek. And then slow and smooth, begin to lower that left foot back down as slowly as you can. And again, paying attention if you're feeling any uncontrolled release or any bumps in this movement, you'll pause, recontract slightly, and then slowly begin to release again. When your foot is back down to the floor, rest. And again, with that left foot, this time pointing your left heel towards the outside of your left hip. So lifting the left foot upwards to the outside of your left hip, and then slow and smooth, releasing as you slowly lower the foot back down. As slow and smooth as you can. When you've returned to neutral, rest. And then we'll do one more on that left side, this time pointing your left heel towards the outside of your right hip. Bringing the left foot up, pointing that heel towards the outside of the right, and then slow and smooth. Begin to release. Slowly lowering the left foot back down, as slow and smooth as you can. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. Moving back to that right foot, this time I would like you to lift the right foot only 2 or 3 inches off of your pillow. So just a teeny tiny little lift. And now slowly release, as slow and smooth as you can. And when your foot is resting again, you'll take a moment of rest. And then we're going to repeat that same thing on the left side. So lifting your left heel now just a couple of inches, just a tiny little lift, and then slowly releasing. Slow and smooth, returning to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest, and then you're going to slowly roll over onto your back again. Once you've rolled over onto your back, I'd like you to bend your knees and bring your feet flat on the floor. We're going to move now into an exercise that I call teeter-totter hips. So for this one, place your feet wherever feels comfortable for you. So they might be close together, they might be hip width apart. Just reminding you to stay in comfort as we begin this movement and keep it very small, especially for the first couple of movements. So bring your awareness now to your right hip, the front of your right hip. I'd like you now to gently lift your right hip upwards towards the ceiling, and at the same time, gently press your left pelvis down to the floor. Again, I'm going to remind you to keep this movement small to start. And now you're going to slowly release the height of the right hip and the pressure on the left side. So releasing both, slowly returning to neutral. And take a moment of rest in neutral. And then we'll move to the opposite side. So this time, gently pressing the left hemipelvis upwards as you gently press the right hip or butt cheek down to the floor. And then slowly releasing both at the same time. Slow and smooth. Returning to neutral. And coming back again to the right side. So gently pressing the right hip upwards towards the ceiling. At the same time, gently pressing your left hemipelvis down to the floor. And then slowly, with control, releasing both. Slow and smooth, returning to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. And then moving to the opposite side again. So this time gently pressing the left hip upwards to the ceiling as the right hip gently presses down to the floor. And then slowly releasing both at the same time. Slowly melting back to neutral. And again, when you've reached neutral, take a moment of rest. And then we're going to repeat one more of those on each side. So again, to the right, gently pressing the right hip upwards as the left hip gently presses down. And slow and smooth, releasing. So slowly releasing any muscles you've recruited to do this movement. Slowly returning to neutral. And take a moment of rest in neutral. And then moving to the opposite side, left hip gently presses up as the right hip presses down to the floor. And then slowly, with control, releasing both. As you slowly melt back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. We're going to add a little hip hike into this movement now. So moving back to that right side, I'd like you gently to press that right hip upwards again as the left hip presses down to the floor. Now I'd like you to do a small hike of the right hip towards your right armpit. Then slowly release the hike of the right hip. And then slowly release that teeter-totter of the hips as you slowly melt back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, rest. We'll repeat the same thing on the opposite side now. So gently pressing the left hip upwards as the right presses down to the floor, and a small, gentle hike of the left hip upwards towards the left armpit. Then slowly release the hike of the left hip, and then slowly release the teeter-totter of the hips as you return to neutral. Make sure to take a moment of rest. We're going to come back to the right side. I'm going to switch it up a little bit though. This time I'd like you to press the right hip downwards to the floor as the left hip rises. And now gently hike the right hip towards the right armpit. Then slowly release the hike of the right hip. And then slowly releasing the teeter-totter as you slowly melt back to neutral. Take a moment of rest in neutral. And then moving to the opposite side, gently press the left hip down to the floor as the right hip rises. And a small gentle hike of the left hip towards the left armpit. Slowly begin to release the hike of the left hip. And then slowly releasing the teeter-totter as you slowly melt back to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We're going to move into a walking exercise next. So I'd like you now to walk your feet apart. If you're on a yoga mat, move your feet to the edge of your yoga mat. So they should be a little wider than hip width apart. And when you're ready, I'd like you now to begin to allow your right knee to slowly, with control, drift inwards towards the left. And now gently pressing into that right foot a little bit, allow your whole pelvis to lift and roll towards the left. Remember to stay in comfort. Then slowly returning to neutral. Slow and smooth, bringing your knee back upwards as you slowly allow your pelvis to roll back to the right into neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. We're going to move now to the opposite side, to the left. So slowly begin to allow your left knee to drift inwards towards the right. Allow your left hip to lift up off of the floor as your pelvis rolls to the right. And then slow and smooth, coming back to neutral as you slowly lift the knee, slowly allowing your pelvis to melt back down to the floor. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. And we'll repeat this again on the right side, gently, slowly allowing that right knee to drift in. Your right hip lifts up off of the floor as your pelvis rolls to the left. Try to keep your right shoulder blade pressed to the floor. Remember to stay in comfort though, that's always most important. Slowly coming back now to neutral. And just notice the length that you're beginning to create in your back and in between your pelvis and your torso. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest and repeat on the left side. Slowly allowing the left knee to drift inwards. Allow your left hip to lift up off of the floor as your entire pelvis rolls to the right. And then slow and smooth, bringing that knee back up. Slowly allowing your pelvis to melt back down to the floor. And at your own pace, I'd like you to do one more on each leg of this exercise. Really paying attention to what you're feeling as you're doing this movement. Remember to stay in comfort. Working for slow, smooth, controlled movement. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I love this exercise. So if you'd like to do one more on each side, you go ahead. And if you're feeling like that's enough for you, you can go ahead and rest. So either taking a moment of rest to sense or repeating one more on each side. And you feel more length as you continue to do this movement. Do you feel a lengthening happening in your back? When you finish the one that you're on, I'd like you to take another moment of rest. Then you're going to walk your feet closer together again. We're going to do a little psoas release here now. So what I'd like you to do next, on your next inhale, when you're ready, is tilt the back again. Your belly button rises as your tailbone gently presses down. Bring your awareness now to the back of your body. And as you slowly release this small arch in your back, I'd like you to slowly slide your right foot along the floor. So you're going to release in your back and at the same time, slowly lengthening your right leg. And then when your leg is long, take a moment of rest here. And while you're resting, I'm going to describe to you how you're going to bring that leg back upwards. I'd like you to turn that right leg out and begin to allow your foot to slide along the floor as your knee bends outwards. And then bring your knee up to standing. Okay, so go ahead when you're ready, turning the leg outwards, bringing the foot along the floor, and then lifting your knee back up to that same starting position. And we're going to repeat that same exercise again. So when you're ready, inhale and tilt. Your tailbone gently presses down as your belly button rises. And now as you slowly begin to release the contraction in your back, you'll slowly lengthen that right leg. Slowly sliding your foot along the floor at the same time, releasing the arch in your back. When your leg is long, take a moment of rest. And after you've had a moment of rest, you'll turn your leg outwards and slide that foot up. And then bring your knee back up. And we're going to do 2 of these with the left leg now. So when you're ready on your next inhale, go ahead and tilt as your belly button rises. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now and slowly release the arch in your back at the same time, slowly lengthening your left leg, allowing that foot to slide along the floor. Slowly melting to neutral. Taking a moment of rest in neutral, and then turning your left leg outwards, sliding your foot along the floor up towards your butt. And then slowly bringing that knee back up. Excellent. And we're going to repeat that one more time on that left side. So when you're ready, inhale and tilt. Tailbone presses down, belly button rises. And slowly with control as you exhale, release the contraction in your back as you slowly lengthen the left leg. And when you've returned to neutral, rest. Once you've had a moment of rest, go ahead and turn that left leg outwards again, sliding your foot along the floor, bending the knee, coming back to that position of both knees bent, feet flat on the floor. We're going to move now into our full arch and curl. So for anybody who has any shoulder issues, if it's too hard for you to bring your hands behind your head, you're going to go ahead and just do those rolling arms that we did at the beginning of this lesson today. If you're comfortable to bring your hands behind your head for this arch and curl at the end, you can do that. You can also put pillows under your elbows if you feel that you're not able to have your elbows laying comfortably on the floor. All right, when everyone's ready, we're going to start with our inhale and our arch. So inhale and arch, gently pressing your tailbone down to the floor, your belly button rises. And this time, think of gently pressing those shoulder blades down to the floor and think of drawing them towards the tailbone. So your tailbone and shoulder blades are gently squeezing towards each other. Bring your awareness now into your back as you exhale and slowly release. Slowly melting. Slow and smooth, returning to neutral. And when you've returned to neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And as you exhale, now flatten your back down to the floor. Your pubic bone and ribs comes towards each other. Bring your elbows together and gently lift your head and chest into a soft curl. Bring your awareness now to your belly as you slowly release in your stomach and lower your head as slow and smooth as you can. And when your head is resting, slowly opening your elbows as you release in the chest. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. We're going to repeat this exercise again. When you're ready, inhale and arch, gently pressing the tailbone down as your belly button rises, shoulder blades press to the floor, thinking of gently drawing them down towards your tailbone. And now just bringing your knees slightly away from each other, and your pelvic floor will be relaxed. Exhale now and slowly release the contraction in your back, slowly releasing in your shoulders and in your pelvis. Slowly melting back to neutral. And again, we'll move right through neutral, doing another inhale if you need to. And as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor. Bring your elbows together, gently squeeze your knees together, tighten the pelvic floor, and lift your head and chest. Bring the awareness to the front of your body now as you slowly release, lowering your head as slow and smooth as you can. Slowly releasing in your stomach, in your pelvic floor, and slowly releasing in the legs. When you've returned to neutral, rest. And we'll repeat that one again. When you're ready, inhale and arch, gently pressing the tailbone down as your belly button rises. Gently pressing your shoulders to the floor and gently bringing the knees apart just a little bit. Bring your awareness to the back of your body now as you exhale and slowly release the contraction in your back, releasing in your pelvis, slowly melting to neutral, and then moving right through neutral, doing another inhale if you need to. As you exhale, flattening your back down, bring the elbows together, gently squeeze your knees together, lift your head and chest. Bring your awareness now to your belly as you slowly release in the stomach and lower your head, slowly releasing in the pelvic floor, slowly releasing in your legs, slowly melting back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, rest. Once you've had a moment of rest, we're going to add a wash rag exercise in here now. So for those of you that have already done this exercise, you will know exactly which one I'm talking about. I'd like you to bring your hands out from behind your head and take them out straight on the floor from your shoulders. If you still have your pillows close by, and hopefully you do, you might want to put one pillow on either side of your knees. For this exercise, your knees will be slowly drifting from side to side. So if you feel like you'd like some extra support, push those pillows down so that your knees have somewhere to go to. We're going to start this movement with the upper body. So I'd like you to slowly, so remember again, your arms, if you're comfortable to do this, your arms are straight out from your shoulders, like the letter T. Good. We'll start with the upper body. I'd like you to roll your right arm so that your right palm is facing up, and roll the left hand and arm so that your left palm is down. Notice what happens in your shoulders when you do this movement. We're not just flipping the hands over, we're rolling the entire arm. So notice what you're feeling in your shoulders. Slowly turn your head now to the right. So you're looking towards the arm that has the palm facing up. Now, slow and smooth, we're going to reverse this movement. So slowly roll the right arm down. As you slowly roll the left arm upwards, you slowly roll your head to the left. Slow and smooth. And again, notice what's happening in your shoulders with this movement. You probably notice that your right shoulder's lifted up slightly now as the left feels a little deeper into the floor. And slowly reversing again. Rolling that left arm downwards now as you slowly begin to roll the right up, your head slowly rolling to the right. We're going to add the legs into this movement now. So just take a moment of rest here while I describe to you what will happen. As you continue to twist with your upper body, we're going to add the legs in. Your knees are going to begin now to drift to the right. So slowly allowing your knees to drift to the right. As you roll the right arm down, your left arm rolls upwards and your head is slowly turning to the left. Allow your pelvis to roll. Remember to stay in comfort. Only go as far as you can comfortably and then slowly reversing again. So slowly with control, lifting those knees upwards and over to the left. As you slowly roll the left arm down, the right arm rolls up. Your head is slowly turning to the right. And switching again when you're ready, slowly bringing those knees up and over to the right now as your right arm rolls down, your left arm rolls upwards, your head is slowly turning to the left. Continue this movement, gently twisting back and forth, and notice again the length that you're creating in your back as you slowly twist from side to side. So slowly bringing the knees up and over to the left. Left arm rolls down, right arm rolls upwards, your head slowly turning to the right. Go ahead and continue with this twisting movement. Do at least 1 or 2 more to each side. And when you've finished, take a rest in neutral. Excellent. Once you've had a moment of rest, we're going to move back into that arch and curl, but I'm going to give you the option here of repeating it with the knees bent and your hands behind your head, or if you would like to put those 2 bedroom pillows stacked on top of each other and under your knees and repeat it with the way that we did earlier this morning. So I'm going to leave that up to you, which way you'd like to do it. And we'll be doing the entire body again. So our arms, our legs, our pelvic floor, everything in this last movement before we move into our final soma scan. And again, we're going to start this on our inhale and tilt. So when you're ready, inhale and tilt, gently pressing the tailbone down as your belly button rises. Gently press your shoulder blades to the floor and gently press the knees out away from each other. Your pelvic floor will be relaxed. Exhale now and slowly begin to release the contraction in your back, slowly releasing in your shoulders, slowly melting back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, taking another breath here if you need to. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, pubic bone and ribs come towards each other. Roll the arms inwards or bring your elbows together. Gently squeeze the knees together and tighten the pelvic floor. Bring your awareness now to the front of your body as you slowly release. Slowly lowering your head. Slowly releasing in the pelvic floor and in the chest and in the legs as you slowly melt back to neutral. If you're not using the pillows right now, if you have your feet flat and your knees bent, when we go into the arch and the knees come away from each other, only bring them away from each other just 1 inch or 2. We don't want you to be opening your knees all the way down to the floor. If you have pillows underneath of you, you'll have a little more freedom to open those legs. But if your knees are bent, just a tiny little bit away from each other. Let's repeat that one again. When you're ready, inhale and arch, gently press the tailbone down as your belly button rises. Shoulders pressing gently to the floor, knees pressing down into the pillow or moving slightly away from each other. Exhale now and slowly release the contraction in your back. Slowly melting back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, doing another inhale here if you need to. And now as you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor. Your pubic bone and ribs will come towards each other as you tighten the pelvic floor. Bring your elbows together. Gently squeeze your knees together. If your arms are long, roll the arms in and squeeze your shoulders towards each other. With awareness in the front of your body, now slowly release. As slow and smooth as you can. Releasing everything that you've recruited for this movement, slowly melting back to neutral. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. And we'll repeat that one again when you're ready. Inhale and tilt. Tailbone presses down, belly button rises, gently rolling the arms open as your shoulder blades press to the floor and gently pressing your knees outwards into your pillow or just slightly away from each other if your legs are bent. With awareness in the back of your body now, slowly begin to release. As you exhale, slowly releasing in the pelvis, in the back, in the shoulders. And again, moving through neutral, doing another inhale if you need to. As you exhale, flatten your back down to the floor, tightening in the abdominals and your pelvic floor, gently squeezing your knees towards each other, lifting your head and chest. Bring awareness now to your stomach and your pelvic floor as you slowly, with control, release, lowering your head as slow and smooth as you can. And then slowly opening your elbows. When you've returned to neutral, take a moment of rest. And then at your own pace, I'd like you to do one more of this flow of arch and curl. Again, it's up to you if you'd like to do it with the pillows under your knees or your knees bent. Remember to stay in comfort. Excellent. When you've finished the one that you're on, you'll slowly move yourself back into our soma scan position. So you'll slowly lengthen your legs one at a time. If you have pillows under your knees, you'll slowly remove those, unless you had them there for your first soma scan. But if you didn't, please move them out of the way. And again, I'd like you to bring your awareness back to your breath. So breathing in through the nose and out through your nose or your mouth if that's more comfortable for you. And as you bring your awareness back to your breath, try to remember how your breath felt when we first laid down this morning. Does it feel different now? Has your breathing slowed down? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you notice more movement happening with your breath? Continuing with this comfortable breathing, bring your awareness now to your head and your neck. Try to remember how your head felt on the floor when you first laid down. Did it feel heavy? Did it feel light? Were you noticing any pain or tension in your head or your neck? What about your face? It's amazing how much tension we can actually hold in our face and in our jaw. Gently bite your teeth together, just a gentle bite. And now slowly release that. Slowly allowing more space in your mouth between your teeth as you relax your jaw. And now scrunch your face up, scrunch your eyebrows towards each other. Just do a little like angry scrunch face, just small. And now slowly release that. Release the tension. Slowly melting, relaxing. Bring your awareness now to your shoulders and your chest as you take this next breath. Try to remember what you were feeling here when we started. How do your shoulder blades feel on your mat now? Were you noticing a difference from side to side this morning? Did one feel heavier or lighter than the other? Were you feeling any pain or tension? What are you feeling here now? Moving now into your mid, back, and belly. As you take this next breath, can you feel your belly rise and your back lift off the floor with this breath? Does it feel different than it did this morning? Does it feel more easeful? Do you feel like you're breathing deeper and slower? Bring your awareness now to your low belly and back. How did your low back feel when we started? Were you feeling any pain or tension here? What were you noticing from side to side of your pelvis? Did one side feel heavier or lighter? And what about your legs? Remember, I asked you to take note if you could feel if maybe one leg felt turned out or in more than the other. What are you noticing now? Still breathing comfortably, moving all the way down through your hips now, through your legs, all the way down through your knees, your calves, your feet. Just take a moment to enjoy this relaxed feeling that you're feeling. And when you're ready, and without rushing, you'll roll to your side. You'll slowly come up to a sitting position. Take your time. And if you've decided to have a nap now, that's fine too.
I don't know what that is. Somebody has their speaker on. It's okay.
Someone's got their computer talking to them.
Slowly come back to sitting. Thank you, Nikki, for such a beautiful class. Let's take our time. That was a lovely, really time to relax towards the end of the class with all that nice breathing.